Now, what I'm about to say, I'm going to be talking about on stage in Italy, teaching an addiction workshop. I'm the guy that talks about all the things that most sobriety and recovery experts are afraid to talk about. One of those concepts is most people that drink alcohol, most people that you call an alcoholic, most people that look and act exactly like an alcoholic, people that have identified as an addict are not actually going to need detox or rehab. Analytically speaking, there are more people that were drinking ridiculous amounts, gallons of liquor every single week. People with high tolerances like mine, when I was a high functioning addict taking 30 shots a day, they're going to put the drink down cold turkey. Nothing bad is going to happen. No, wait, relax. I understand how you feel. We're here to talk about the truth. We're here to talk about the reality. After supporting thousands of people in the Beyond Sober program and with the book, having over 400 one-on-one conversations, I can tell you this with absolute certainty. You are probably not the train wreck the algorithm has convinced you are. If you're even seeing this face, it's probably because at one point or another, you have interacted with other alcohol-based content. The reason why so many people that actually have a problem with alcohol won't stop drinking is because they actually know deep down the true analytical fact that most people that drink alcohol aren't going to experience symptoms so bad they're going to be forced to quit. People are going to drink until they're 90 and then have their last glass of scotch on their deathbed. But why would they get to drink literally their whole life every single day? You've literally never seen them without alcohol in their hand, but you start to black out on a couple beers. The reason you're not going to stumble across channels strictly dedicated to boring alcohol content, it's because there's no story to tell. For a majority of people that look like alcoholics. Just because you have a high tolerance, you drink alcohol every day, you've been drinking for a very long time, just because you could drink everybody under the table, none of that makes you an alcoholic. When was the last time that someone captivated your attention by going, well, I was casually sipping a mimosa. And then Jeremy, he said, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Get to the point. Tell me the story today, Junior. The logic is there's people that are going to drink every single day of their life and nothing really eventful is going to happen. Therefore, they're not really even going to have a story to tell you, which means it's extremely unlikely that you're going to stumble across a creator that casually talks about alcohol. Now, what I'm about to say, I'm going to be talking about on stage in Italy, teaching an addiction workshop. Alcoholism is a spectrum. Some people, like that 90-year-old, aren't going to practice enough alcoholic behavior where their body has started to assume that alcohol is more important than food. They're never going to develop a dependency. That doesn't mean they didn't drink to get drunk. That doesn't mean they've never blacked out. It just means that their lifestyle is kind of conditioned around how alcohol supports it. They're happier, they're healthier, they take care of themselves, and they drink at low risk. They don't drink that much alcohol. Just because they drink every day doesn't mean they're an alcoholic. And it definitely doesn't mean they're at higher risk of developing alcoholism. Other people, and this is probably you, literally spiral emotionally after it was just one beer. Your friend may only have one beer and literally start spiraling emotionally. They can't stop crying. I know people that'll get blacked out and beat up random people they don't even know. They only had one drink. Why would that happen? But the reality is, most people that drink alcohol, specifically casually, or even at high risk, or even have a high tolerance, are going to fall somewhere in between that spectrum. So it's important to understand that the extreme content that you're receiving does not represent alcohol in its entirety. I'm a former high-functioning alcoholic. I literally needed it to live, which is why my channels are so big, which is why I'm recognized as a thought leader, which is why I've had to release the book, which is why I've dedicated my life to helping as many people as I possibly can. The content that does the best in most social platforms is the ones that favor the extreme. There's a reason why I showed you a picture of myself bright yellow. It got your attention. It does every single time. There's a reason we tell stories about the hospital stays. There's a reason we amplify liver failure, pancreatitis, seizures, DTs. All of those topics and all of that content is binge-worthy. It's meant to keep your attention. But the crazy part about that is the more that we consume, the more we quietly suffer. The more we quietly consume just a little bit more alcohol, the more we justify our pains and drink about it instead of think about it. And what happens is we don't feel worthy enough of the support we really want. We don't feel valuable enough. We start to feel like a number. We start to feel like a problem. So we never tell anybody. Or if we do, we laugh about it. Like our alcoholism isn't dramatically out of control or teetering on the edge of insanity. The whole point of this video is to remind you that your story matters. And it's not because it was exacerbated through alcoholism and you were raised through trauma and you experienced the severity of alcoholic abuse. It's not because your mom was an alcoholic or your brother or someone in your family died because of alcoholism. That story may be a part of your life, but it's not the reason why your story matters. Maybe you've never experienced any of that and you're just tired of the symptoms and the circumstances that alcohol was literally making worse. Your story matters because you matter. You matter whether you like it or not. And alcohol isn't out here to help you feel like you hold value. But that's why programs like Beyond Sober, that's why the book like Beyond Sober exists. It's to give the power back to you so you can disassociate from what's making your life just that much more difficult. Everything doesn't have to get worse before it gets better. You're allowed to say, I'm done. Maybe I'm not fully committed. Maybe I don't even know what I want. Maybe I just know that there's something more out there. Maybe you're just curious on what sobriety and recovery could actually bring to your table. And that thought alone, that's the first step. You got to feel that feeling first, man. So if you're even remotely curious about sobriety, if you've been dabbling in recovery, if you've ever tried it before and it never kind of brought a full life change where alcohol just became completely irrelevant, I'm here to let you know that you haven't tried everything, and that's okay. Every single person that I've worked with over the past 5 years in the Beyond Sober program, in the public communities and in private, were just curious. They just wanted to see what was possible, see what tools were out there. Maybe there's something for you. So if you or someone you know is even remotely curious, don't be afraid to check my page for more details on how I'd love to help.